Today I'll be discussing on the laws related to the protection of women which is available under the Indian Evidence Act. So there are various provisions which is available under the Indian Evidence Act for the protection of women against violence. So the very first section which deals or the provision is section 113A. It speaks of presumption as to abatement of suicide by a married woman. So it tells that when the question is whether the commission of suicide by a woman had been abated by her husband or any relative of her husband, and it is shown that she had committed suicide within a period of 7 years from the date of her marriage, and that her husband or such relative of her husband had subjected her to cruelty, the court may presume, having regard to all the other circumstances of the case, that such suicide has been abated by her husband or by such relative of the husband. It is very relatable with the dowry that which is provided under section 304B of IPC and also section 498A of Indian Penal Code, which speaks of the cruelty by the husband or the relative of the husband. So now see, whenever a woman commits a suicide, and that also within 7 years of her marriage, and the question is whether it has been abated by her husband or any relative of her husband, the court may presume, having regard to all circumstances, that such suicide may be abetted by her husband or by such relative of the husband. The next very presumption or next very provision which is available under the Indian Evidence Act, and it is section 113B, which tells us presumption as to dowry that. When the question is whether the person has committed the dowry death of a woman, and it is shown that soon before her death, such woman has been subjected by such person to cruelty or harassment for or in connection with any demand for dowry, the court shall presume that such person has caused the dowry death. For the purpose of this section, dowry death shall have the same meaning as in section 304B of the IPC. So this is also you can relate with the 304B of IPC, which speaks of the dowry death. The last very section or the provision which is available under the Indian Evidence Act is section 114A, which speaks of presumption as to absence of consent in certain prosecution for rape. The provision of rape I have discussed in the previous video, where we have discussed about section 375 of IPC, which speaks of rape. So in a prosecution for a rape under clause A, B, C, there are various clauses under that particular section 375 and 6. You see, and in the prosecution of a rape under various clauses of section 376 of the IPC, where sexual intercourse by the accused is proved, and the question is whether it was without the consent of the woman alleged to have been raped, and she states that. Now the question is whether it was without the consent of a woman or not, and she alleged to have been raped, and she states in her evidence before the court that she did not consent. The court shall presume that she did not consent. So this is one of the very important provision which is available to a woman against the violence. Now these are the three provisions or the three laws which are available under the Indian Evidence Act. Now the next law related to the protection of a woman against violence under the CRPC. So there are also various provisions which are available under the Code of Criminal Procedure. So what are those sections and what are those provisions? We'll discuss one by one. So very first thing is that in relation to the commission of sexual crimes on women as amended in IPC provisions, the information under the section 154 of CRPC, that is FIR, regarding the offence shall be recorded by a woman police officer. So you see, if there is a commission of offences, and that is also a sexual offences, and that information under section 154 regarding that offence, and it shall be recorded by a woman police officer. So whenever a person has to file an FIR or lodge an FIR in the police station, so it has to be recorded by a woman police officer. So this is one of the protection, or this is one of the provision which is specifically available in the Code of Criminal Procedure. The next thing you see, the statement of a woman regarding the commission of the offences like outraging her modesty and making her naked, etc. This are to be recorded under section 161 of CRPC by a woman police officer. So it is very important that the statement should be recorded by a woman police officer. The next is that according to section 309 of CRPC, now in relation to rape cases, the enquiry or trial should be completed within 2 months from the date of the charge sheet. So the duration of time is given that the trial or the enquiry, it should be completed within 2 months from the date of the charge sheet. The next very provision is section 357 of CRPC, which mandates that the victim of sexual offences are to be treated at all public and private hospitals who shall immediately inform the police about such incident. So you see, whenever there is any victim of sexual offences, they are to be treated first and foremost at all the public and private hospitals, and it shall be informed to the police. The next provision is section 47(2), clause 2 of the CRPC. It requires that no place or apartment which is in the occupation of a female and who is not the person to be arrested shall be searched by any police officer before giving off a notice to the female occupier thereof that she is at liberty to withdraw therefrom. So it is mandatory that whenever a place, suppose there has to be a search in a particular apartment, and that particular apartment is an occupation of a female who is not the person to be arrested, that search cannot be that person, the police officer, no one can enter it before giving a notice to that female occupier. The next provision is section 100 in clause 3 of CRPC, which speaks that if a female is reasonably suspected of concealing about her person any article for which search can be made, such shall only be conducted by another woman with strict regard to decency. Further, you see, arrest of a woman has also to be intimated by arresting officer to the superintendent of police, and reasons have to be specified if the arrest was made by an officer lower in rank than assistant sub-inspector. So you see that if a woman has to be arrested, it has also to be intimated by the arresting officer to whom? To the SP, and the reasons also should be specified. Further, no woman in police custody shall be lodged even for a night in a police station except in unavoidable circumstances, and the gazetted police officer supporting an application for remand to police custody of any woman shall be responsible for taking necessary measures for decent custody of such prisoner. So you see, the woman cannot be lodged even for a night in a police station, except there is one exception, that under unavoidable circumstances, if the gazetted police officer supports an application for remand to police custody, only in that particular circumstances. The next provision, which is the woman attending police investigations and inquiries, shall not be detained for any period than absolutely necessary, and furthermore, they shall not be required to visit the police station between the sunset and the sunrise. So this is very important, that they cannot be or shall not be required to visit the police station between the sunset and the sunrise. The next very provision, which is available under the Code of Criminal Procedure, is if a woman is arrested, it is imperative on the part of the arresting officer to prepare a memo which indicates the reasons for arrest, the place where the arrested person will be detained after arrest, and when or she, most probably it is regarding the woman, and so it shall also be provided that when she will be produced before the court, all the details should be there. And a copy of such memo of arrest is also to be required to be given to the family members or relatives or neighbor of the arrested person, so as to directed by the Honorable Supreme Court in the case titled D.K. Basu versus State of West Bengal. So, why a person is arrested, and everything should be given in minute details, and the memo of that arrest should be given to the family members or relatives of a neighbor of the arrested person. The next provision is that every woman under arrest is entitled to get free legal aid, free legal services, so as to provided in Section 12 of the Legal Services Authority Act 1987, and it is the duty of the court before whom such arrested person is produced that she is entitled to get free legal services, as so laid down in the case titled Khatri and others versus State of Bihar. And In the subsequent case, Sukdas versus Union Territory of Arunachal Pradesh. So you see that Section 12 of the Legal Services Authority Act provides that every woman under arrest shall be provided with the Free Legal Services Act. Now, the last provision which is available under the CRPC is under Section 416 of the CRPC. It provides that in the event of a female upon trial being sentenced to death for commission of heinous offences, what are those heinous offences? It may be murder, and her sentence of execution is required to be postponed and even can be commuted to imprisonment for life as to be provided, which is provided under Section 416. So these are the various provisions or the various laws which are provided to a woman against violence under Indian Evidence Act and also the Code of Criminal Procedure.